The conference room hummed with an uncomfortable silence. Jaegui sat perfectly still, his dark eyes fixed on the alien delegation seated across the circular table. Their bodies were nothing like human forms, a mass of shifting, translucent membranes that changed colors with each emotional pulse. Dr. Nara, the lead alien diplomat, extended what might have been considered a tentacle. Her communication device chirped to life, translating her complex color changes and subtle movements into simple human speech. "We have studied your planet for many decades," she began, her voice a melodic blend of electronic tones and organic undertones. Jaegui knew the backstory. For years, the Concordance of Unified Planets had been watching Earth through long-range sensors and intercepted transmissions. They believed they understood humanity completely. They were wrong. The alien delegation had meticulously collected data about Earth, satellite images, radio broadcasts, television signals, and internet data streams. They saw lush green forests, vast blue oceans, and what appeared to be a peaceful civilization. Their research suggested Earth was a pristine paradise, a potential sanctuary world waiting to be recognized by galactic standards. Captain Hisu, who stood behind Jaegui, made no attempt to hide his amusement. A slight smirk played across his weathered face, revealing something the aliens had not yet understood. Humans were not what they seemed. Dr. Nara continued her presentation, projecting holographic images that danced above the conference table. Each image showed a carefully selected view of Earth, a sunset over the Amazon rainforest, marine life gliding through coral reefs, mountain ranges stretching across continents. The presentation was designed to demonstrate the aliens' comprehensive understanding of human civilization. "Your planet," Dr. Nara explained, her color shifting to a soft blue of what seemed like academic excitement, "represents an extraordinary balance of ecological diversity. We have identified over 8.7 million species living in complex, interconnected systems. Your world appears to be a living museum of biological harmony." Jaegui listened carefully. Each word was a carefully constructed misunderstanding. The other alien researchers nodded in agreement. Their membrane-like bodies pulsed with what could only be described as intellectual satisfaction. They believed they had decoded humanity, a peaceful species living in perfect symbiosis with their planetary ecosystem. Jaegui knew better, and Captain Hisu definitely knew better. Earth was many things. Peaceful was not one of them. The conference room felt charged with an unspoken tension. The aliens continued their presentation, completely unaware of the surprise that awaited them. They saw beauty where humans saw survival. They saw harmony where humans recognized constant, brutal competition. Dr. Nara reached the conclusion of her presentation. "We believe Earth represents the pinnacle of planetary development, a world where life exists in perfect, delicate balance." Captain Hisu couldn't contain a small chuckle. It was not a laugh of joy, but something darker, a sound that made the alien delegation's membranes ripple with sudden uncertainty. Jaegui turned slightly, meeting the captain's gaze. A silent communication passed between them. They both knew what was coming next. The aliens were about to learn the true nature of Earth, a planet where survival was not a gentle process, but a constant, violent negotiation. The presentation ended. Silence filled the room. Dr. Nara looked expectantly at Jaegui, waiting for confirmation of their perfect understanding of human civilization. Little did she know, everything was about to change. The research vessel Harmony floated in the quiet darkness of space, its sleek hull reflecting pinpricks of distant starlight. Inside the main conference chamber, the alien delegation continued their detailed presentation about Earth, a world they believed they understood completely. Dr. Nara's holographic display showed another carefully selected image. This time, it was a peaceful meadow with grazing deer and butterflies dancing between wildflowers. Her tentacle-like appendage pointed to specific details, explaining the intricate balance of Earth's ecosystems. "Look at the symbiotic relationships," she said, her translation device converting her color-based language into smooth human speech. Each organism plays a perfect role. No waste, no unnecessary violence. Jagui sat motionless. His eyes never left the holographic display, but his mind was elsewhere. He knew what the aliens didn't. Earth was nothing like their perfect presentation. Captain Hisu stood at the back of the room, his arms crossed. A veteran of multiple space missions, he had seen countless alien civilizations make the same mistake. They looked but did not truly see. They collected data but failed to understand the fundamental nature of life on Earth. The alien researchers continued their presentation. Charts and graphs filled the air, showing mathematical models of ecological interaction. Each graph suggested a world of perfect harmony. Each chart indicated balanced population controls. Each data point screamed of a peaceful planetary ecosystem. None of it was completely true. "Your planet demonstrates remarkable self-regulation," explained Kiro, the youngest researcher in the alien delegation. His membrane shifted to a bright green of intellectual excitement. "We have never seen a world where species maintain such precise population controls without external management." Jaehui wanted to laugh, but he remained professional. Earth's history was a constant story of survival, predation, competition, adaptation. The aliens saw only the surface, the beautiful landscapes, the complex ecosystems. They missed the brutal reality underneath. Take wolves, for example. The aliens saw them as beautiful creatures living in perfect family groups. Humans understood them as efficient killing machines that maintained entire ecosystem balances through constant, violent hunting. Or consider the oceans. The alien presentation showed beautiful coral reefs and gentle marine life. They missed the reality of great white sharks hunting seals, orcas playing with their food, and the constant, merciless battle for survival happening beneath the waves. Even human history told a story the aliens completely misunderstood. They saw advanced civilization. Jaehui saw a species that had survived ice ages, global conflicts, and constant environmental challenges. Dr. Nera moved to her next slide. It showed a rainforest filled with vibrant life. "See how everything connects," she said. "No waste. Perfect efficiency." Captain Hisu could not help but chuckle. It was a dark sound. A sound of someone who knew something the others did not. The aliens looked at him, their membrane-like bodies suddenly shifting to a pale color of confusion. Something in his laugh suggested their perfect understanding was about to be challenged. Jaehui turned slightly, meeting the captain's gaze. A silent communication passed between them. They both knew what was coming next. The aliens were about to learn that their carefully constructed understanding of Earth was nothing more than a beautiful illusion. Dr. Nera finished her presentation. Silence filled the room. She looked expectantly at Jaehui, waiting for confirmation of their perfect understanding of human civilization. Little did she know, everything was about to change. Dinner aboard the Concordance vessel was a strange affair. The dining hall looked more like a scientific laboratory than a place for eating. Transparent tables reflected soft blue light. Strange metallic containers held what the aliens considered food, a mixture of nutrients that looked nothing like the meals humans enjoyed. Jaehui sat between Dr. Nera and Kiro, the young alien researcher. His plate remained untouched. The aliens watched him carefully, their membrane-like bodies shifting colors with curiosity. "We are most interested," Dr. Nera said, her communication device translating her color changes, "in understanding human dining habits." Captain Hisu, seated at the far end of the table, said nothing. But his eyes never left Jaehui. Something was coming. Something the aliens would not expect. The conversation had been going on for hours. The aliens continued to explain their understanding of Earth. They talked about ecosystem balance. They discussed human civilization. They believed they knew everything. They were wrong. Jaehui cleared his throat. The entire room went silent. Even the background hum of the spacecraft seemed to pause. "Would you like to see what truly makes Earth unique?" he asked. His fingers hovered over a holographic interface built into the dining table. The alien diplomats exchanged excited glances. They thought they were about to receive some grand revelation of human ecological wisdom. Another piece of information to add to their massive database about planet Earth. Kiro's membrane turned a bright shade of yellow, a color that suggested extreme curiosity. "Please," he said, "show us." Jaehui smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was the kind of smile that suggested something was about to change forever. Captain Hisu leaned forward, his weathered hands clasped together on the table. He knew exactly what was coming. The other human representatives in the room remained silent. They had seen this demonstration before. They knew what was about to happen. The alien researchers continued to look expectant. Their membrane-like bodies pulsed with excitement. They believed they were about to learn something profound about human civilization. They had no idea what was coming. Jaegui's fingers moved across the holographic interface. Complex data streams danced around his hands. The aliens watched, their collective breathing, if one could call it that, becoming faster and more intense. "I will show you something," Jaehui said, "that will completely change your understanding of our planet." Dr. Nara's color shifted. For the first time, a hint of uncertainty appeared in her membrane. Something in Jaehui's voice suggested this would not be another academic presentation. This would be something else entirely. The holographic interface began to load. Strange images started to form. The alien researchers leaned closer. Their excitement was building. They thought they were about to see another beautiful representation of Earth's ecosystem. They were wrong. Very wrong. Captain Hisu allowed himself a small smile. He knew what was coming. And he knew the aliens were not prepared for it. Not prepared at all. The holographic display flickered to life. At first, nothing seemed special. Just a piece of water. A river, perhaps. The alien researchers leaned closer, their membrane-like bodies pulsing with curiosity. Jaehui's finger touched another control. The image began to move. A large animal, something like a deer or a small cow, stood near the river's edge. Its reflection rippled in the water. Everything looked peaceful, calm, exactly the kind of scene the aliens had been describing in their endless presentations about Earth's ecosystem. Then something changed. Small shapes appeared in the water, barely visible at first, silver and quick. The alien researchers shifted in their seats. Even they could see something was about to happen. The small shapes moved faster, closer to the animal. Dr. Nara's communication device began to translate her color changes. Excitement, curiosity, anticipation. Suddenly, the water erupted. Hundreds of small fish burst from the river. Their movements were precise, coordinated, brutal. The animal tried to move, but it was too late. Within seconds, the water became a churning mass of silver and red. The aliens watched in horror as the small fish, piranhas, began to strip the animal to the bone. The time-lapse video showed the entire process. What would have taken minutes in real time was compressed into mere moments of absolute savagery. Kiro's membrane turned a sickly green. His translation device struggled to process the collective gasps of his team. What are those?" he managed to ask. "Piranhas," Jaehui responded simply. "Just one of many predator species on Earth." The video continued. Where moments before there had been a living creature, now only a clean skeleton remained. The river ran red, then quickly cleared, as if nothing had happened. Dr. Nara's entire body shifted colors rapidly. Her translation device produced a series of confused sounds before settling on words. This is not balance," she stammered. "This is pure destruction." Captain Hisu leaned forward. "Welcome," he said, "to Earth's real ecosystem." The alien researchers stared at the screen. Their carefully constructed understanding of planetary life was crumbling before their eyes. Jaehui knew this was just the beginning. Piranhas were merely an introduction to Earth's true nature, a small demonstration of the constant, brutal competition that defined life on their planet. The room remained silent. The holographic display continued to show the pristine river, now completely clear. No evidence remained of the violent feast that had just occurred. Dr. Nera's membrane had turned a pale, almost transparent color. Fear, confusion, disbelief. Is this normal? Kiro asked, his voice barely a whisper. Jaehui smiled, a smile that suggested this was nothing compared to what else Earth could show them. This, he said, is just the first lesson. The conference room felt different now. The air seemed heavier. The aliens looked smaller, more fragile. Jaehui began to explain. His voice was calm, professional, but there was something else underneath. A hint of pride, a touch of challenge. Piranhas are just the beginning, he said. Earth is not a peaceful planet. It is a planet of survival. He activated another holographic display. Images flashed quickly. Each one told a story of brutal adaptation. A polar bear hunting seals on Arctic ice. Teeth and claws against blubber and survival. The bear's movements were precise, calculated, deadly. Killer whales playing with seals before eating them, tossing their prey into the air, demonstrating intelligence through violence. Bombardier beetles that could shoot burning chemicals from their bodies to defend themselves. Small creatures with incredible survival mechanisms. The honey badger, a small animal that could fight creatures much larger than itself. An animal so fearless that it had become a legend among Earth's predators. Your research, Jaehui continued, showed only the beautiful parts of our planet. You missed the constant battle happening everywhere. Dr. Nera's membrane turned different colors. Confusion, fear, fascination. Hiro could not look away from the displays. Each image destroyed another part of their understanding of planetary life. Predation is not violence on our planet, Jaehui explained. It is balance. It is how ecosystems maintain themselves. Every creature plays a role. Some hunt, some are hunted, but everyone survives. He showed them more. Desert plants with chemical defenses, insects that could survive extreme temperatures, plants that ate animals, creatures that could regenerate lost body parts. Earth was not a peaceful museum. It was a constant battlefield where only the most adaptable survived. Captain Hisu watched from the corner. His smile suggested this was exactly what he expected would happen. The alien researchers began to understand. Their perfect model of ecological harmony was falling apart. Earth was not a balanced system. It was a complex machine of survival. We have much to learn, Dr. Nera finally said. Her voice sounded different now. No longer confident, now curious, humble. Jaehui knew they had only seen the beginning. Humanity had millions of stories of survival, millions of examples of adaptation, and the aliens were about to learn them all. The alien delegation entered shock. Their entire understanding of planetary life had been destroyed in minutes. Kiro sat motionless. His membrane had turned a dull gray, a color that suggested total mental shutdown. He kept replaying the piranha video in his mind. Each replay made less sense than the last. Dr. Nera moved between denial and fascination. Her communication device struggled to translate her rapid color changes. One moment she looked terrified. The next, she looked excited, then confused, then terrified again. How? She asked Jaehui. How can a planet survive like this? Captain Hisu chuckled from the corner of the room. Survive, he said. We don't just survive. We thrive. The humans in the room exchanged knowing looks. They understood something the aliens did not. Earth was not a problem to be solved. Earth was a challenge to be conquered. Kiro finally spoke. Your planet breaks every rule of ecological management we know. Exactly, Jaehui responded. The alien researchers began discussing among themselves. Their language was a complex dance of color and subtle membrane movements. But Jaehui could see their confusion, their fear. They had studied Earth for decades, collected millions of data points, analyzed countless transmissions, and they had understood nothing. One researcher, whose name translated to something like wind dancer, started drawing complex diagrams, trying to make sense of what they had just learned. But no diagram could explain the brutal beauty of Earth's ecosystems. "Wait," Kiro suddenly said. "We haven't seen everything yet, have we?" Captain Hisu's smile grew wider. "Not even close," he said. Dr. Nera's membrane shifted to a bright color of nervous anticipation. She realized they were about to learn much more about humanity, much more about Earth. And they were not prepared. Not prepared at all. The Concordance of Unified Planets went into emergency session. Thousands of alien representatives gathered in their central chamber. The holographic display showed the now famous Piranha video on repeat. Jahui watched from a distance. He had been brought in as the primary expert on human planetary behavior. "This changes everything," the lead counselor said. His membrane pulsed with a deep blue of total confusion. The aliens had designed their entire galactic policy around the idea of peaceful planetary development. Earth destroyed that concept in minutes. Previous reports about Earth were now completely useless. Decades of research, millions of data points, all wrong. The council began to argue. Some wanted to avoid contact with humans completely. Others saw humans as a potential resource, a species that could survive anywhere. Jahui found himself unexpectedly promoted. From a junior researcher, he was now the lead expert on human-alien relations. His simple presentation had changed everything. Captain Hisu watched from the side. He was not surprised. Humans had always been underestimated. The council's debate went on for hours. They reviewed every piece of information about Earth, every transmission, every satellite image. Nothing made sense anymore. Humans were not a peaceful species waiting to be welcomed into the galactic community. Humans were a force of nature, a species that could adapt, survive, conquer. "We need a new approach," the lead counselor finally announced. Jahui smiled. The real introduction was just beginning. News traveled fast across the galaxy. The Concordance of Unified Planets could not keep their discovery quiet. Other alien civilizations began requesting information about Earth. Thousands of communication requests flooded in. Everyone wanted to understand this strange planet. Jahui found himself buried in paperwork, reports, interviews, endless meetings. The first wave of requests came from research planets. They wanted to know everything about Earth's ecosystems. How did such a brutal world produce intelligent life? How did creatures survive in such constant competition? Military-focused alien civilizations showed different interest. They saw humans as potential allies or potential threats. Captain Hisu watched the chaos with amusement. Humans had gone from being a possibly interesting species to the most talked-about civilization in the galaxy. Dr. Nera continued her research. Her earlier presentations were completely rewritten. Everything she thought she knew about planetary development had changed. The Piranha video became famous. It was played on communication networks across hundreds of star systems. A simple demonstration that changed everything. Some alien cultures were terrified. Others were fascinated. A few were both. Humans went from being a footnote in galactic history to the most interesting species anyone had encountered. Jahui realized their simple demonstration had done more than just explain Earth's ecosystem. It had completely changed how the galaxy saw humanity. And they were just getting started. The galaxy changed. Humanity was no longer just another species. They were something else entirely. Alien civilizations began to see humans differently, not as victims, not as peaceful explorers, but as survivors. Jahui understood the transformation happening. A simple video about piranhas had rewritten everything. Dr. Nera approached him during a diplomatic meeting. Her membrane had changed, no longer nervous, now respectful. "We misunderstood," she said. "Completely misunderstood." Captain Hisu watched from the corner. His smile suggested this was exactly what he expected would happen. The Concordance of Unified Planets rewrote their entire first contact protocols. Humans were not to be approached carefully. They were to be understood carefully. Other alien civilizations started studying human history. They discovered a species that had survived ice ages, fought world wars, explored impossible environments, adapted to everything. The piranha video became a symbol, a simple demonstration of survival. Researchers discovered more. Humans could survive in deserts, in Arctic regions, in space, anywhere. The galaxy realized something important. Humans were not just another species. They were a force of nature. HFY knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had millions of stories of survival, millions of examples of adaptation, and the universe was about to learn them all.